Hey guys, welcome back. Today, I'm going to be going over how I put my resume into ChatGPT and got an ATS score. So I used that to figure out if I was a fit for a particular role. Then I did some modifications, submitted apply to a position, and got some feedback. Now, I got the full details of the actual, position and kind of changed, right? I met with the hiring recruiter, and right now, as far as I'm concerned, the position is a new position. So they never had anyone fill this role before. So, from my experience in organizations that never filled a role before, and this is a new developed role, and they want someone a little more senior, they have no idea what they're looking for. All right. I just want to put that out there because this is coming from my personal experience. I've been in roles where people have, created these positions and they have no general knowledge of what their day to day for this position should be. They have a overarching understanding of an enterprise level of what they need for someone to fill, but that doesn't equate to someone doing it day to day, right? And I'll go over some of those details as far as what they're expecting versus what you would be doing every day. All right. There's no way, for example, you'll be creating PowerShell scripts on a day-to-day basis, but this obviously will be in your job description. Okay. It will take some of your time to develop these, whether it's a simple script or overseeing certain PowerShell scripts that are already existing, but it will definitely not take up your entire day or your entire week. So let's go over some of the details as to what I was doing with ChatGPT. So I submitted my resume. Now, of course, I broke it down, right? So for privacy reasons, I don't put my even though I pay for ChatGPT, I just don't include a whole document full of like my personal email address or any other things. I would probably scrub some of that, and when I say scrub, is removing certain items from the resume to submit onto ChatGPT, because ultimately ChatGPT is a public, facing service. Now, even though the privacy for your individual account is strictly for you, because I asked ChatGPT this, I said, "Do you ever use my information that I submit, questions, information, things, theories, whatever I submit as data sets? Would you ever share that with other customers?" And the answer was no. But obviously, you don't know how far that no goes. But they will, what ChatGPT says, reference, uh, in a high level, right? Not mentioning names, persons, people, links, profiles, whatever, but it will use that information as it gathers it throughout the course of time. And of course, because there's millions of people on this, that's where this information is coming from. Whether it's accurate or not, that's a whole different story, and whether it's hallucinating and things like that. All right, so that's besides the point. But anyway, I submitted what I thought was a revised top level resume, and I said, "Hey, what is my ATS score if I applied for a position of what my skill set is?" And estimated skill score of 93 out of a 100. Now, you can take this however you want. It's ChatGPT telling you this. It's not the company that's looking at the resume, or the ATS at the company looking at the resume, or scanning through the resume. There's no guarantee that they're going to pick you up because of this. It's just you just trying to get a general idea of what your resume looks like versus a role that you're trying to apply to. So that's pretty much why I did it. So I'm not going to dive deep into each one. You could probably just take a quick glance at it, and I'll go through the details of the position in a little bit that I use this for. Okay. Formatting and readability, so it's 18 out of 20. I could probably, spice some of these things up. Certification and education, I got a 15 out of 15. So I'm more than qualified, I feel like, as far as certification is concerned. I do have, I'm jumping around here. I do have a strong mix of keywords, and those are the things I highlight to individuals that I speak to, is that, put these words out there, these keywords that people will pick up on, whether it's all caps or some are bold, not your entire resume being bold. And if someone, and these are the items that are on my resume. So if someone was to just scan through it with a few seconds, they would understand that this is where I'm coming from as a cybersecurity engineer, someone that has compliance, someone that understands framework, someone that understands risk, and they have dealt with the SOC and they understand policy. So there's a whole bunch of things here, right? We can keep on going. PCI DSS, he's done with credit cards, and depending on what industry you're working in. And of course, right here it mentions more about the framework, slight room to add keywords like internal control business. So it gave me some suggestions on what to add because I don't have it. And some possibly human beings or even the ATS system are looking for these keywords. So if I add this, probably and most likely it'll boost me up for the 30 out of 30. Formatting and readability, again, is 18 out of 20. I could probably clean it up a little bit. The yellow highlights would be what the recommendations are, right? Add consistent spacing between sections. I thought I did. I'll revisit that again. Unbroken text blocks, okay? Consider bolding job titles and sections heading to make it more skimmable for human review. Again, I've done this myself. I look at resumes and I looked at hundreds of resumes. I don't read the entire resume. I glance at the resume and it probably would not take me more than 10 seconds. And certification, that goes, the more the better, of course, but not necessarily always the case. But I think what the ATS system is looking for is that the fact that you have certification. I think even the fact that if I just had one certification, it would have probably been a 15 out of 15. As long as you have something to prove that you have relevancy in this sector of cybersecurity that you're applying for this position. Okay. Achievements and metrics, 16 out of 20. So this is like one of the lowest one that I have right now. Could use more outcome-based phrasing like reduce risk exposure or achieve SOC 2. So they want you to set goals that you accomplished. Based on my understanding of this achievement and metrics, is that you actually did something productive and not just like, oh, I did this, I did this, I did that, but you had nothing to show for it, right? At least on paper, at least on the resume. So obviously, if I added something, a one-liner or a two-liner in one of the job descriptions or in one of the experiences or two of the experiences that I added, let's just say I took these two examples and I put that in there, that would probably boost up my ATS score as well. And then the GRC alignment. So, I have GRC experience, I have governance, I have audits, and I've done, good amount of that stuff. And the fact that I have that in my resume and I illustrated that, I got a 15 out of 15. So, using this information, and I went ahead and I applied for this position. It was a lead cybersecurity engineer. Now, again, I'm telling you that this is a new role that they have no idea what this person is supposed to be doing, but they have a general idea of what you're supposed to be doing, if that makes sense. Meaning, you may not touch all of this stuff every single day, but you may have to deal with it one time or another throughout your course of employment. So, position requirement including, and it goes down this extensive list. I'm not going to lie, there is a good amount of stuff in here that you should know because you're a lead. Now, I say a lead, this is not entry level by any means, right? The top paying salary for this right now, and because it's based out of New York, New Jersey, is $175,000. I found it to be on the lower end for this position, but every organization is going to be a little different. So, you have to take that in consideration as well, whether it's the travel and all the other benefits. Of course, just solely basing it on salary, it's fair. Okay. It's not the greatest, but it's fair. And actually, everything that it's asking for right now. Now, I do want to mention, when I first met with the individual about this position, it was totally different as far as the job description compared to what it is now. The updated job description was later sent to me after the fact that the first position or the first job description was released. And the first job description was a lot much watered down. Like, it had none of the full details as you're seeing it now with the required knowledge, skills, and abilities. It probably only had like 5 bullet points. Now you can see that they more than double that. because they want to cover their grounds, right? If they're going to hire someone in the senior level position, they want to make sure that when the time comes and you're doing something, they want to make sure that they're covered as far as you coming back and saying, well, it's not in my job description. So why you're asking me to look at like Cisco networks? Oh, wait. And then you look at it like, oh, Cisco network security products. So I am responsible for that, or have some type of responsibility for that. And oh, why am I doing all these PowerShell scripting all of a sudden, right? So obviously they put in a job description here, specifically ability to create authored scripts in PowerShell. So meaning they want you to create the PowerShell scripts. And it's, of course, it's not like you can't use AI to create these scripts. It's that simple nowadays, opposed to you trying to figure out or read a book on PowerShell to create one, right? But again, that's besides the point. What tools you use to enhance your career or your day-to-day job activities is all up upon yourself, not, you know, not restricting you to any of that. So of course, and again, I'm just jumping around. They want someone that has the Microsoft Azure, so you know that they're in an Azure environment. They work with Datadog, Thousand Eyes, and all these other products that you probably should or have some experience, because again, this is not a junior level position. This is a lead position, so you have to have some good amount of years of experience. So let's look at what type of experience they're expecting, right? Besides the day-to-day activities, or some of the core elements of what you would be responsible for on a day-to-day. And of course, there's common things like verbal and written communication. I mean, that goes without saying, to be honest. But let's look at what requirements they really want, right? Someone with a bachelor's degree. All right, that's fair enough. They're not looking for anyone with a master's degree. 5 years of experience in a large Microsoft Windows environment. I guess that works for me. I mean, 5+ years of experience. I've been doing Microsoft Windows environments for the last 20 years, especially now with Azure and AWS. That's a mixture of both. Still very familiar with it, so that I qualify for. 5 years of experience in a cybersecurity engineer, SOC operations center. I think I covered that as well. I have 10 plus, like 12. And certifications. And specifically, they want someone with CISSP, which makes sense to fulfill the 5 years. In order to get the CISSP, you have to have at least 5 years experience, and someone has to sign off on that. Security Plus is a given. Like again, I've mentioned in the past, it's a baseline of any positions for cybersecurity for the most part. All right, if you jumped out of the gun and had like an OSCP before you even get the Security Plus, or you even decide not to get the Security Plus, I think that covers it, to be honest, more than covers it. And if you have any more senior level certifications and do not have the Security Plus, I think that automatically covers it as well, in my opinion. Now, how the recruiter or HR looks at it may be like, you don't have your Security Plus, but I know you have these other certifications, but you don't even have the basics. Just my opinion. I don't know what HR is thinking for the most part. Most of the times, I don't even want to know what they're thinking, because it doesn't make sense some of the times, or if not most of the times, okay? As far as filling cybersecurity positions, their ask and what they want is like sometimes it just, yeah, it doesn't line up properly. And in addition to that, they want someone that NIST, understanding NIST cybersecurity framework, which is easy enough to do. You go to the NIST website and you start looking up through these different NIST numbers and what frameworks covers what, as federal government, private sector, and all that information is out there publicly. You don't have to pay for it, so it's easy to absorb. It's even easier to absorb when you're actually working in it, or you've worked with it and you know the ins and outs of it. So that I have experience as well. And of course, again, they mentioned the Microsoft immediate certificates in Azure, networks, or Windows, which I have satisfied, again, under my CV. So physical demand, I'm not too concerned with this, unless you really have like limitations. They just, you're going to be in the climate controlled office. This is so interesting. I felt like my experience with climate controlled office is that most offices during the summertime is freaking freezing. My arthritis acts up because I work out and my joints are like killing me when I'm sitting in the damn cold and the air is just blowing at me. So that's obviously things you have to consider. But the least of our worries, right? We just want to get hired. This is a hybrid position, so you have to be in the office at least 3 days a week. So you have to make sure that your commute to the office is reasonable and it's not going to stress you out, and you end up not wanting to work there anymore because of your commute. Prolonged sitting, extensive utilization of computer and interaction. It's funny that they actually have to even mention this. Position requires the ability and the willingness to travel as required to meet business needs. That's fine. All right. And of course, then the benefits. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that with you and how you can actually tune yourself, right? It's like a car. You just have to prep yourself, tune the car, right? Like if you go on a long travel, you're gonna check the tire pressure, you're gonna check your oil, you gotta make sure everything else is working properly. You don't want to drive in 90 degrees heat and then figure out that your AC isn't working while when you first start the car, right? Um, Certain things you're gonna check and just make sure you have everything with you. You pack your bags. So in short, that's pretty much what you would do with the any AI, right? Any AI, whatever you choose, whatever you want to use. Um, you can scrub it down, submit your resume, say, hey, I want to know how would this score out on an ATS system. Let me know what changes or additions I can make to fulfill the position in this link. Things like that. You kind of have to just prompt it properly, and if you don't get the first results of what you were asking, I would say just keep on trying. No one ever gets it the first time around, and the results will always come back a little bit different or completely different depending on how you ask the the models. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I just wanted to share that with you guys. It's an interesting time now. There's a lot to do. Um, and if you're watching this far, I did reach out on my community. I'm looking for people who understands and knows how to build AI agents. If you do and you're interested, you can email me, and you can get in touch with me in my description or comment section below. There's like a way to contact me if that's something that you're interested in doing. All right. I want to thank everyone for being here, and I'll see you guys again really soon. Take care.